Yo, what's going on, guys? Boom and boom. Seth Spartan, your guys. Today, we're hitting you with another quick take. Another quick take talking about and running through all the different compounds, anabolic steroids, peptides, drugs, everything people want to know. So guys, stay tuned as we keep going through this educational series and banging these videos out, keeping them sweet, short, to the point. We're going to go through some of the science, 2 points on the science, and then we're going to get into into talking about the real world. Guys, how does Masteron, boom, the anabolic steroid Masteron, actually play out in real life? Pros and also some health concerns, health cons. Let's get right into it. But guys, first, if you guys want performance TRT, performance testosterone, and HGH replacement, go to my new clinic, the Human Performance Clinic. Otherwise, if you guys want the best peptides, go ahead and go to Peptide Pro or Pure Raw's. Links are in the comments and coupon codes. You'll save more with Peptide Pro, but that's pretty much it. Guys, let's get right into the video. Here we go. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Well, the first thing you really want to know when we're talking about Masteron is what? What's important? Based on the latest, most accurate information we have to date on Masteron, the anabolic androgenic rating or ratio on paper is what? We're talking about a 96. 96 anabolic on paper. All right? 96 anabolic on paper. Now, well, what about the androgenic? Androgenic, we got a little old 23. Not 23. 33, all right? So if we're talking about on paper, based in the latest research science we have on this compound, Masteron, what do we got? 96 anabolic, 33 androgenic, all right? We're going to talk about whether this plays out in the real world in just a second, but let's finish going through the science real quick. What is Masteron? What is Masteron? What is a steroid Masteron? It is a DHT derivative, dihydrotestosterone derivative, okay? Now, what does this mean for us? What does this mean for us in the real world? Keep in mind, we have testosterone derivative, DHT, and 19-nor-nandrolone derivative anabolic steroids, from which everything that man messes with in terms of anabolic steroids come from. So this is important in terms of telling us the general effects of this hormone, all right? DHT, specifically, we'll talk about fat loss in just a second. All right, so let's get into what? The reason you guys are all here. Guys, let's get cooking. Let's get into the real world, all right? How does this play out in the real world in terms of Masteron, in terms of real world effects? Let's start off with muscle mass, and we'll go fat loss, strength, and size, and everything else. In the real world, how does Masteron play out in terms of muscle mass? All right, not on paper. Guys, in terms of real Masteron, if you get it from the pharmacy, I don't know where you guys live, do everything safely, legally, under doctor supervision, of course, right? But having said that, in terms of Masteron, how does this play out in the real world? We got a 96 on paper. If you are getting real, true real what? Masteron, it's actually pretty anabolic. People used to cry and complain and say that, oh, Masteron's weak, it's not good for muscle mass, blah, blah, blah. It's only good as a hardening or a show prep compound. No, guys, no. No, not at all. Real Masteron, milligram per milligram, is pretty close to, in the real world, being as anabolic as testosterone. Not just on paper, but in the real world. So in terms of, hey, is Masteron a good muscle builder? Yeah, real Masteron is a good muscle building hormone. Masteron is good. It's great for building muscle. Now, is it something blow your socks off? Is it like DHB? Is it like Anadrol? Is it like even things that are super anabolic, like real Anavar, not faked Anavar? No, it's not. It's not crazy going to blow your socks off for muscle mass. But in terms of, is it a good strong mass builder? Yeah, it is. It's close to testosterone in the real world. So that anabolic on paper rating, yeah, it's accurate. All right. And guys that have used real Masteron can comment in the comment section, and they'll tell you this as well. Hopefully. All right. Moving into fat loss. What's the truth about Masteron and fat loss, guys? I'm going to lay this out here for you guys as simple as I can put. Masteron is great for fat loss. All right? Masteron is cooking for fat loss. It's not on the same level as something like Anavar. Anavar is the strongest milligram per milligram fat burning anabolic steroid we have in existence. Stronger than Tren, stronger than anything, milligram per milligram. Okay? The only reason people get more fat burning from something like Tren is because they can take 500, they can wrap the dosages way through the roof. But milligram per milligram, and that's not advised, by the way, but milligram per milligram, Anavar, the strongest in terms of fat burning. Anavar is a DHT driven. We already talked about that. And it's the strongest, the most potent for binding adipose tissue and releasing stored fatty acids. That's a whole nother conversation. We can explain how that works and go into the science later. Having said that, in the real world, fat loss, Masteron is good. It's a great fat burner. Not quite Anavar level, but it's a good potent fat burner as well. Now there's something that's not on here that I want to include. This is a secret. And the veterans already know what I'm going to say, all right? Hardening. Fat loss, great. DHTs are really good for fat loss, but this particular DHT, similar to Winstrol, Anavar doesn't really do this so much, but similar to big secret, guys. Big secret, listen up. All DHTs are great at fat burning. Some more, some less. However, certain DHTs like what? Winstrol and, wait for it, Masteron have a hardening effect, kind of an anti-AI effect. Do I know, have I looked through some of the studies and the research on why I think this is? Yes, but we don't have a study that says, this compound removed X amount of fluid from sub-Q. No, but we see in the real world, forgetting fat loss, we see in the real world certain DHTs, we'll call them not mystery DHTs, but we'll call them special or whatever term you want to come up with, all right? Super DHTs, certain DHTs have an amazing property at actually pulling out water under the skin, and that's why we call them hardening agents. So the two compounds, probably the best two compounds on planet Earth that give you a hardening look, dry, hard, grainy. And this is just me on testosterone, guys. I look like this. Imagine on Winstrol or Masteron. But the two, Masteron and Winstrol, out of all the DHTs, they have this crazy effect, and it's to the max. So Masteron and Winstrol specifically in this video, what? Masteron, extreme hardening effect, which is caused by what? Pulling out the water under the skin, the water between the muscle and the skin, all right? Pulling out that sub-Q water weight gives you this hard, dry paper look, all right? It looks amazing. I'm not telling people to do this without talking to your doc and just taking this stuff, but this is something to keep in mind. All right, that hardening look, all right? Other DHT derivatives don't do it like Masteron and Winstrol. Moving on into strength. Let's get into strength, hit you with the sides, and we'll get out of here, all right? Strength. What do you guys need to know for strength? You're going to listen to all these people that say, Masteron's not good for strength, it's kind of worthless, blah, blah, blah. Well, you'd be wrong, all right? Because the people, again, that are using real Masteron, maybe they're overseas, I got people watching from all over the world, but people that are getting real Masteron, not some fake stuff sold as testosterone or who knows what. Real Masteron, in the same way, yeah, it's actually good for muscle mass. Guess what? It's good for strength. Masteron is good for strength. Now, let me clarify. Winstrol's really good for strength too if it's taken at the right dosages. That's another conversation. But in terms of strength, Masteron is good for strength. Is it something like Trenbolone? Is it something like Anavar? No. But it is actually decent. It's actually pretty good for strength. All right? So that's pretty much wrapping up the pros. Let's hit you with the cons that people don't want to hear, but you should be aware about at least. All right? You guys are all adults. You can make your own decisions depending where you live. But let's break down the last part in the education, the anabolic steroid education. Whew! Guys, what about the sides and negatives? Well, let me tell you this. In terms of Masteron, and I'm going to lay this out, all right? In terms of sides and negatives, there's really not much else to say besides what I've already talked about a ton, all right? There's really no additional sides to using Masteron besides testosterone, except if we go long-term usage. We don't have tons of data on long-term usage with Masteron. So short-term, you're probably fine, okay? Again, check with your doctor before you do anything. But short-term, not a big deal. We don't see really any other sides. There's no estrogenic sides, none of that. We don't see any standout sides short-term. Long-term, can you use this for years without issues? I can't tell you that. I wouldn't risk it, but this is something just I would consider safe short-term use. The only thing you should be doing for years is testosterone, which is obviously native to your human body. The only other, so really there's no sides in terms of, besides things that are, there's no estrogenic sides and there's no other sides than just base testosterone. This is a very well-tolerated anabolic steroid. Sometimes you might have some sweats. Again, that's caused by a little bit of this anti-AI effect, peeing out the urination, peeing out some sweats, and your body getting rid of some of that sub-Q water weight and stimulating the metabolism. But sides are really very, very few. All right, guys, Seth Spartan, stay safe, stay healthy. The last thing I'd say on the sides, you take too much testosterone, you take too much anabolics, you're going to grow your muscles. Guess what? You're also going to grow your heart. And that's why I tell everybody, you know, you can do testosterone replacement, even high-dose testosterone replacement, up to 1,700. That's where the range for men went in the 1950s before everyone was sick and unhealthy. But with Masteron, at least if you're going to do this stuff, you know, at least if you're going to do this stuff and go way high with the dosages, I would at least, or you're doing other stuff, at least get your heart scanned with an echocardiogram once a year, because you take too much anabolics, too much testosterone, guess what? You're going to grow your muscles, no doubt, but your heart's actually going to get thicker and grow and cause heart dysfunction like I had when I was messing around and taking all sorts of whatever stuff. Again, do everything safely, legally, under doctor supervision. Seth Spartan, we're out. Tell me what video you guys want next. Boom.